Some of you asked me what other common plants are poisonous, and I have one that I'm particularly obsessed with, and that is Angel's Trumpet. Let's get into it. This is Angel's Trumpet. It is a tropical warm weather plant. It is not as common in California as oleander is, but I still see it everywhere. People like to plant it, of course, because as you can see, it's beautiful, it's spectacular. Those big yellow flowers are just beautiful. It drapes, it's very dramatic. It's a beautiful plant. It also has a cousin, which is the devil's trumpet. The difference between an angel's trumpet and a devil's trumpet: the angel's trumpet is facing downward, the devil's trumpet is facing upward. You can see why. Now, angel's trumpet is toxic. Its leaves and flowers are poisonous. The statistic that I saw online is that an adult who consumed 8 flowers of the trumpet flower would face a fatality. I also saw some statistics that in Sri Lanka, they have up to 7 deaths per year of children who ingest this vine. It does mostly affect children, much like oleander. It's those little ones who don't know not to put everything in their mouths who might accidentally ingest some of these poisonous plants and get sick. But the reason why I'm obsessed with Angel's Trumpet is because of its possible relation to a phenomenon called India syndrome. Let's get into it. So India syndrome is a description of a phenomenon that's been observed of Westerners traveling to India, people who are in search of a spiritual experience, an experience of the divine. These people are spiritual seekers. Lots of people travel to India just to travel, but we're speaking about the people who come from the United States and Canada and Western Europe, and they come to India in search of enlightenment, search of a deep spiritual divine experience. There's a phenomenon of these travelers, these spiritual seekers, coming to India and having psychotic breaks. And some people have theorized that this India syndrome, as they call it, people traveling to India and having psychotic breakdowns, is a result of them setting their expectations of what this trip to India is going to be so high that when India inevitably is shown to be just a regular place, and while they have a nice time, it's not this amazing spiritual breakthrough, they experience sort of a mental breakdown because of this disconnect between their expectations and the reality. Now, that explanation never really held water to me, and there's a couple of other explanations that are interesting, and one of them involves the Angel's Trumpet. So one of the possible explanations of India syndrome that I think makes a little bit more sense is that there are some anti-malarial drugs that can cause psychotic symptoms, can cause psychosis as a reaction to this malarial drug. Some people have taken these malarial drugs. They might be taking them for the first time when they go to India, and so they haven't had a chance to take them and see how their body reacts to them. And there's a class of anti-malarial drugs that can cause this type of psychosis. So that seems like a more likely reaction to me, a more likely explanation of what India syndrome is. But there's another interesting one. So the explanation for India syndrome that involves the trumpet, the Angel's Trumpet plant, is that some people, and I do not advise this, but some people ingest the Angel's Trumpet flowers on purpose as a shrug experience because there are some hallucinogenic effects. Now, this is a bad trip, you guys. This is a bad trip. I don't know if anybody out there has had experience with this. It does not sound good. And the problem is, it's one of those chemical compounds where it doesn't just stay isolated in that time period when you are using this particular substance. You can remain psychotic for months, if not years, and have relapses. So it's a really, really nasty chemical. I do not, look, it's your body is your body, but I do not recommend it. And apparently some people who travel to India use shrugs as part of their search of the divine. This is been something that humans have done for millennia, so this is nothing weird, this is nothing new. And some people use substances to seek that out. They may find practitioners, shamans, or just regular con men and women in India who are willing to sell them these shrug experiences. And one of the shrug experiences that they might be selling is trumpet vine. And sometimes people are being given things that they're not fully being told what it is. They're not being given the right to opt out. Sometimes they're being pressured to take whatever this substance happens to be. Sometimes it'll be a situation where like this person promises you a certain experience, but you end up sort of like alone with them in an unfamiliar place, sometimes out in the country somewhere where you don't know where you are, and then you're being pressured to imbibe some sort of substance, and that substance could be Angel's Trumpet. And so there's a theory that some of the folks who experience this level of psychosis that is really intense and long and ongoing could be a result of exposure to this toxin. On the sort of more pleasant side of this particular plant, I have been told that there's a legend that if you pick this Angel's Trumpet flower and you put it underneath your pillow, do not eat it or smoke it, but you put it underneath your pillow, you will dream of the person that you're going to marry. Now, I don't know if that would have worked for me. I've been married more than once and hope to never be married again, so I don't plan on doing that anytime soon, but if you have a romantic frame of mind, I would say why not pick one, put it under your pillow tonight, but do not ingest it. This has been the story of the Angel's Trumpet flower and how it can poison you.